Yeah, I'm so tired, guys. My hand is starting to give me signs that it's tired because I always hold it with my hand. I need to maybe get a stand, but I'll see. So yeah, welcome. I'm going to do upsets predictions. I wanted to do them tomorrow, but I'm going somewhere tomorrow, so I want to have the time to do it. So I just decided to do them today. I'm so tired. I apologize. But I know my energy will pick up once my people come online and join the stream. So someone already liked it, and I haven't even started. Um, who's greeting Lorenzo? How are you, man? Avaraji, how are you? I'm starting to see you regularly, Avaraji. Welcome to the stream. DZ, afternoon king. How are you, man? I'm also starting to see you regularly. Amir, you as well. Do you think Rufy finds the KO? Wow, there's so many people who joined at the same time. Amir, I'll get to Rufy, but it's possible he might get it. Avaraji, bro, tell your abscess prediction fast. I have to go through them all. Um, Let me actually get started. It seems like you're in a hurry. So let me get started. Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Mora. My subscribers and I went with, or rather, my subscribers went with Veronica Hardy. I went with Eduarda Mora. Um, Veronica Hardy is the favorite at minus 160, and Eduarda Mora is the underdog at plus 125. Do I think an upset is possible here? Yeah, highly so, especially because obviously I. What's a pookie, dude? I don't know what's a pookie. I don't know what a pookie is, but sounds weird. Anyway, I picked Eduarda Moura because, in all honesty, I think she's better everywhere than Veronica Hardy. I think the biggest problem for her was cardio. In the previous fight, in my personal opinion, I feel like skill wise, I think she was still good. I think the biggest problem was cardio, and she missed weight, if I'm not mistaken, in that particular fight. So she's moving up right now. I don't think, because I don't know if most people, obviously most people understand that someone who is cutting too much weight, it affects your ability to take a punch. It also affects your cardio. A simple example is Alex Pereira. It was easier to knock him out. I'm not saying Israel Adesanya did not do it because of skill, but obviously that might have played a significant role in him actually knocking out Alex Pereira because he was cutting down too much weight. Even a gas tank. If you watch Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira's first fight, in the last round, even though Alex Pereira managed to find the finish, he was gassed. You know, so cutting too much weight affects your gas tank, which is what I think was happening to Eduarda Moura. I think she is really skilled. I think she's going to be a little bit more motivated to actually get the win. She has a good team. You know, if what do you call him, Dilton Almeida trains with her, so I think she has a really decent team in order to help her improve where she has weaknesses. So I think she's going to have a grapple heavy approach, but to be honest, even on the feet, I feel like Eduarda Mora will have the advantage. She has the reach. I think she's better offensively. The only advantage on the feet that give to Veronica Hardy would be, what do you call it, volume. Other than that, I think Eduarda Mora should do well. Eduarda Mora will lose if her cardio is not good, of which I doubt, especially if she's not going to be cutting down too much weight. So I think an upset is definitely possible here, and it's proven by the fact that I picked the underdog here. I picked a couple. I picked a lot of underdogs on this card. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit worried. So yeah, Colpe one, happy to see you, man. Keep up the good work. You do amazing, my friend. The blessings to you and your family. Thank you, my dude. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think an upset is possible here. Um, yeah, I think if I'm right about this particular pick, I mean Eduardo Moura has disappointed me in the past before. So you never know. But if I'm right about this one, Eduardo Moura should dominate Veronica Hardy. Plus, you know, Veronica Hardy is a convent. Okay, let me not even go there. It'll get me in trouble. Let me not go there. But yeah, I think an upset is possible here. As long as Mora has cardio, I think she's going to do really well. On to the next one. Basil Hafez versus Oban Elliott. My subscribers and I went with Oban Elliott. Basil Hafez is the underdog at plus 125. Oban Elliott is the favorite at minus 155. Do I think an upset is possible here? I don't know, man. I can't see. I mean, I know Basil Hafez has. I don't want to say power. What does he have? I think Basil Hafez has pace. I think he has pace. I think he has. Yeah, that's the only advantage I'd give to him. It's pace, and yeah, that's basically it. He throws a lot. He shoots a lot of takedowns. I think that's the advantage I'd give to Basil Hafez. I don't think there's anything else that I feel too worried about, except the fact that he has a higher finishing ability than Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott is not very good at finishing fights. That worries me a lot because normally I lean towards the person who's better at finishing fights because even if they don't get the finish, most likely they are able to inflict a lot of damage in the early rounds, and then as long as they don't get finished, they might get the decision based off of the damage they did early in the fight. So people who have finishing abilities normally are able to win the first round and maybe somehow steal the second round. The first half of the second round, they are able to maybe steal it and maybe survive that particular round, and then the other person is left to either finish the fight in the third round or lose a decision. That's why I lean towards finishers. However, Basil Hafez has not looked the same as he did when he came into the UFC. I know a lot of people say Hafez is incredible, and a lot of people like to reference Jack Della Maddalena um, as their source of, well, Basil Hafez is incredible. Maybe he is, but so far I haven't seen anything that tells me Basil Hafez is an incredible fighter. Um, Jack Della Maddalena is not a wrestler. He has never been known for having great takedown defense. So using Jack Della Maddalena as an example is not necessarily a good, I don't know, idea. It's like taking Alex Pereira and making him fight Hamza Chimaev and then saying, okay, Hamza Chimaev is good. That's a bad example. Who else shoots a lot of takedowns at middleweight? Um, let's say if the UFC made Alex Pereira fight Jack Hermanson, and then after Jack Hermanson takes down Alex Pereira multiple times, and then or Derek Brunson, yeah, let's use Derek Brunson as an example. Let's say the UFC made Alex Pereira fight Derek Brunson, and then Derek Brunson was taking Alex Pereira down multiple times. Actually, why am I? There's even a realistic example. Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is the perfect example. He fought Alex Pereira, he had success, he took him to a decision, but it doesn't mean Bruno Silva is the most incredible fighter. All of us say, yeah, that's Yaguzagu Merab takedown spammer. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that he's going to be good at. And if Jack Della Maddalena, who does not have great takedown defense, who was busy jumping guillotines where he shouldn't have been, I honestly don't see Oban Elliott making the same mistakes. However, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit worried about the Basil Hafez's finishing abilities. Um, so yeah, that's the only concern I have in this particular fight. But the only thing I see in Hafez is that he's going to throw a lot of strikes. He's going to shoot a lot of takedowns. Yeah, apart from that, there's nothing that I'm too worried about as far as Basil Hafez is concerned. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think an upset is possible here. Yeah, I don't think an upset is possible. Um, do can I see Basil Hafez taking down Oban Elliott? Not so much. Oban Elliott is better everywhere, man. Oban Elliott is better everywhere. He's going to be the better striker. He has good. He has good takedown defense. I think he has decent defensive grappling to avoid getting taken down multiple times. So I don't think it's going to be um, easy for him to take Oban Elliott down. So I'm going to say I don't think an upset is possible here. Um, dude, your name. Marab is scared of Umar. Jones is scared of Aspinall. I spoke about Jones versus Aspinall yesterday. It's a lot. I'm not going to go back to that, but I'll be inclined to say okay. I'll say yes to both of them. But yeah, I think an upset is not possible here. Um, I could be wrong, but I don't see it. Um, Especially because I don't see Basil Hafez submitting Oban Elliott. I feel like Oban Elliott is very good defensively, so I don't see Basil Hafez knocking Oban Elliott out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think an upset is possible here. Um, I'm not extremely confident in Oban Elliott, but I don't think an upset is possible here. On to the next one. Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahimaj. My subscribers and I went with Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is the favorite at minus 115. Brahimaj is the underdog at actually near even, basically, at minus 105. Do I think an upset is possible here? Yeah, I'm going to say yeah, an upset is possible here. Both of them are pretty trash to some extent, but or let me not say trash, but they're not good, man. Um, Mickey Gall is going to have the advantage on the feed. Ramiz Brahimaj is going to have the advantage on the ground. I wouldn't call it a striker versus grappler because Mickey Gall has decent grappling, so I don't think he's going to be lost on the ground. Um, Let me see. But I'm worried about Mickey Gall because I can see him being taken down and maybe accepting being on his back, trying to attempt the submissions and maybe not getting them. But I think I'm hoping that he's smart enough to actually game plan to strike because I think he's going to have a massive advantage. I think he has the power advantage, he has the reach, obviously, and even striking in general. I think he's a little bit more accurate, he's better defensively. So it would be stupid for him to try and grapple with Ramiz Brahimaj, even if he feels confident. I mean, there's a clear path to victory for him, which is striking. He is better. Um, yeah, I think Mickey Gall is going to win this one. I'm going to say an upset is possible here, but I'm not very. I don't think the probability of that happening is high, largely because I feel like Mickey Gall is decent at grappling. Okay, let me just say an upset is possible. Largely, mainly because I can see a scenario where Mickey Gall. I can't help but see a picture of Mickey Gall busy on his back trying to get a submission, and oh my god, that's highly possible. I can't help but see Mickey Gall on his back trying to get submissions, and not trying to get up, which is possible, and losing a decision. So I'll say an upset is possible here, but I mean, it's basically a coin flip. So is there even a favorite here? Yeah, but Mickey Gall is a slight favorite, so I'll say an upset is possible here. On to the next one. Marcin Tybura versus Jonata Diniz. Marcin Tybura is the favorite at minus 160. Jonata Diniz is the underdog at plus 126. Um, my subscribers and I went with Jonata Diniz. Do I think an upset is possible here? Yeah. I think it's a coin flip. Um, yeah, I think it's a coin flip. So, I mean, Taibura can win, but I obviously my subscribers and I are picking Jonathan Diniz because we feel like he's going to win. Taibura hasn't looked good in recent fights. His takedowns are very sloppy. I feel like Jonathan Diniz is not great on the ground, but he seems like he's slowly improving. And I am confident he feels like, or rather, at the very least, I think he knows that he will be better on the feet, so he needs to find a way to keep the fight standing. And didn't he use grappling in his last fight? Who was he fighting in his last fight? Who's this guy? The Olympic the Olympic champion. I forgot his name. Um, I think Deniz used wrestling, right? He was taking him down and basically grappling him. So it shows that Jonathan Deniz is improving. Unless if I'm not remembering the right guy, but I think he was taking what's his name? I forgot his name, man. So I think he was taking him down multiple times. So it shows that he's working on his grappling, even though it wasn't great, but it shows he's working on it. So I think an upset is definitely possible here. I think Jonathan Diniz has a high probability of winning. I mean, that's why I picked him. So, yeah, I think an upset is definitely possible here. Also, Machin Taibura is a little bit older now. He's never really been an elite level heavyweight. So, it's hard to, even at his age, it's hard to have any faith in the fact that he's going to win this fight. Um, Irrespective of his experience and the people he's fought. So yeah, Diniz is going to be the better striker. The only path to victory that I see for Taibura is taking the fight to the ground. I think Diniz has been putting in decent effort into improving. So I don't see. Yeah, let me just leave it at an upset is definitely possible. I picked Jonathan Diniz. My subscribers picked Jonathan Diniz. On to the next one. David Onama versus Roberto Romero. I'm going to the odds say basically David Onama is minus 1,000. These odds are different on different platforms, so I just took the highest that I could see. Even the yeah, basically I took the highest that I could see. So David Onama is the favorite at minus 1,000. Actually, I think there was more 1,200, but I'll stick to 1,000. And Romero is the underdog at plus 700. At plus 700. Do I think an upset is possible here? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. David Onama is young, had a full camp, is a better finisher with more experience. This guy is coming in on short notice. He's not even at the top of the list in the regional scenes. I get worried a little bit about fighters. If you are coming from the regional scene, I would like for you to be ranked in the top 15 at least. for me to be concerned about you, or if, at the very least, be in the top 20. Maybe 15 is too harsh, but still, I take you a little bit seriously if you're in the top 15. And even then, I start to, worry once you get into the top 10. But this guy is ranked, I think, like 41 in the regional, in North America or something like that. I, it just shows that he hasn't been fighting incredible competition. Um, I remember I pointed out the level of competition he has been fighting. I don't know if I should repeat it. Actually, let me just repeat it. So this guy has been fighting his first. I'm going to mention the records of the people he's been fighting. 1-0, 3-0. Um, he lost to the guy who's 3-0. I think this was his second fight, and then he lost to the guy who's 1-3. So the guy who won one fight and lost three fights, he lost to him in his third fight, and then he went on to beat a guy who's 1-1, 2-1, 4-0, another guy who's 4-0, another guy who's 0-1, 10-2, 5-2. He lost to the guy who's 5-2, and then I think the last person he fought is a guy who's won 26 fights, lost 14, and I don't know, had a draw with two, something like that. Um, so yeah, it's not a great set of opponents. And David Onama has a really decent camp. And I know I said this guy trains with what do you call him? Trains from the same team that Carla Esparza came from. But apart from Carla Esparza, I can't see any talented fighter in that gym. Um, Let me reply to some of the comments. It seems like uh, fallback. What up, my dude? Love your show. Doing a roof here in Trenton, New Jersey. Listening in. Keep up the grind. You're a real one. Oh, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad to hear that I'm keeping you company while you work. Um, Shiva, Mike Tyson, or Jake Paul. You know what? I apologize, guys. I normally do boxing predictions, but unfortunately, it's been so much to do the UFC things. I decided to just focus on UFC. I apologize. I'll try to find a new system that allows me to do boxing predictions on a weekly basis starting next year. But this year, there's so much that I'm doing. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to. And it's unfortunate because my predictions on boxing are incredible. In one card, the maximum that I've gotten wrong is one or two. Like normally, I even get 100%. Like I was excited about getting 100% last week, but in boxing I get 100% like a lot of the time. So unfortunately, obviously this is a channel I started with MMA. I watch MMA, specifically the UFC. I don't watch boxing that much, so that's why I'm focusing on MMA. But I'll make sure that I include boxing officially, properly starting next year. I'll find a way. But right now it's hectic. Like if you go through the channel, I can't do all these things on my own. I'm trying, but it's a lot. Uh, so I can't give you a definitive answer on Mike Tyson or Jake Paul, but because Tyson is the better fighter, but he is very old. He's not just old; he's very old. Um, it's hard to give you a prediction on that. Um, who's this? Draken, you a UFC fighter? No, I'm not a UFC fighter, my dude. Um, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul is a clown. Draken, are you Kamaru Usman's brother? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me say that I'm Kamaru Usman's brother, if you want to believe that. Yakuzagu, my take is that the possible upset will come only from either of these three fights, i.e., Chandler, Martinez, Eric. I have a high feeling in one or two from here will definitely get an upset. I can see Eric Anders winning, but maybe Martinez slightly, but Martinez only has leg kicks down. And if you counter a leg kick with a punch, like you basically neutralize the only thing he's good at. So I don't know, man. But he is training with Sean O'Malley and Kyler Phillips, so who knows? He might also gas out in the second round. That team is just making me doubt them more and more. Anyway, as I was saying about David Onama and Roberto Romero, so I don't see a path to victory for Roberto Romero. Unfortunately, he's coming in on short notice. He's not that great of a finisher. He doesn't really finish fights. I think he lost his like the fight before the one he just won right now. He lost it. So he's on a one fight win streak. Like it doesn't look like he's going to be too much of a threat to David Onama, who is basically seeming like he's improving every single fight. So I don't think an upset is possible here. I think David Onama is rightfully the minus 1,000 favorite, which is crazy, but I think it's rightfully so. Good and Ayo, brother. How are you, man? On to the next one. Jim Miller versus. Also, my subscribers and I went with David Onama. I don't think an upset is possible here. On to the next one. Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. My subscribers and I went with Jim Miller. Jim Miller is the underdog at 110. Damon Jackson is the favorite at minus 132. I think an upset is possible here. I tried to pick Damon Jackson. In my heart, I was like, Jim Miller is 42 years old, man. I can't pick Jim Miller. But I couldn't bring myself to pick Damon Jackson. I feel like Jim Miller is the better fighter. The only reason I would pick Damon Jackson would be because Jim Miller is old, and that would be stupid and on my part. Because Jim Miller looked decent a couple of months ago when he fought Bobby Green at UFC 300. And Damon Jackson, I think, recently lost and devastatingly so. So this one is a risky fight, in my opinion. But I feel like Jim Miller is probably going to win this fight. So an upset is definitely possible, and that's why I picked Jim Miller. But I'm not going to sit here and ignore the fact that he's 42 years old. Even though he went to a decision with Bobby Green, which is extremely impressive, and he still looked dangerous, even though he was being pieced up by Bobby Green. He still looked dangerous in that particular fight. He lost clearly, but I don't think Damon Jackson will be able to do what Bobby Green did to him. So I think Jim Miller is going to win, and I think an upset is definitely possible here. Jim Miller has a big shot at winning, but I'm very worried about the fact that he's 42 years old. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, on to the next one. Chris Weidman, the double eye poke finisher. My subscribers and I do Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. My subscribers and I went with Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman is the underdog at plus 140. Eric Anders is the favorite at minus 170. Um, so Yakuzagu, it seems like if Anders wins, it's not really an upset because it seems like he's the favorite. Um, which I don't blame anyone for picking Eric Anders, but I just feel like once again Eric Anders is not good. Let me see. Yeah, Eric Anders is not great, man. I mean, on the feed, maybe he might have the advantage as far as volume and accuracy, but I think Chris Weidman will have, which is going to sound crazy, but I think Chris Weidman is going to have a little bit more power. It sounds crazy, but yeah, I think the person who's going to be hurting the other person is probably going to be Chris Weidman. I think Chris Weidman is better defensively. He can avoid getting hit. And I think I can see Eric Anders being tired after the first round. If Eric Anders does not win in the first round, I don't see him finishing the fight in the second round or winning a decision. Because it's either he's going to lose a clean decision for Chris Weidman or he's going to be robbed, one of the two. But he's probably going to lose this fight. I think Chris Weidman is the better fighter, but once again, Weidman is older. But also, you need to also take into consideration the fact that if anyone is going to be robbed between the both of them, it's probably going to be Eric Anders. If Eric Anders, which I don't think Eric Anders, if it gets to a decision, I don't see Eric Anders winning a dominant decision, right? I don't see that happening. If it gets to a close decision, Chris Weidman is going to rob him, or the judges are going to give the fight to Chris Weidman. As far as finish, I don't know, man. The last time Chris Weidman was finished was when he broke his leg, and that was against the Jared Cannonier, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't see Eric Anders being the guy to finish Chris Weidman, especially because I feel Chris Weidman is better defensively. I don't think he's going to get caught. I think he's going to have the wrestling advantage. So if he feels like, oh damn, I'm getting hurt on the feet, he can take the fight to the ground. And even if he doesn't submit him, I don't see Chris Weidman having the ability to submit anyone at this point. But I think he can try to control him. I mean, he trains at AKA, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously that's a grappling gym. So even if he feels like, okay, I'm losing on the feet, he can easily just take the fight to the ground and actually control it there and win a decision from the ground. So I don't know. Maybe the people who are picking Eric Anders should explain to me how they see Eric Anders winning this fight, because the only way I can see him winning is maybe a knockout, and that's very unlikely because Chris Weidman is better defensively, in all honesty. So he's going to be able to avoid getting hit with any clean shot. And if he gets hurt or if he senses any danger, he's going to wrestle. Yeah, he's definitely going to wrestle, but I don't think he needs to. That's the thing. I don't think Chris Weidman needs to wrestle because I think he has the reach, so he can actually fight from a distance and just maybe jab, and just keep him at a distance. And if he tries to get close, maybe shoot or feint the takedown or something like that. So I feel like, and Chris Weidman, on top of having the reach, Chris Weidman has a little bit of power. He's better defensively. So I don't see Eric Anders winning this fight. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, but because of the age, I'll say an upset is possible. But yeah, in all honesty, I don't think Eric Anders is going to win this fight. Um, Jim Miller might lose. He's 42. At least the Chris Weidman is like 39 or something like that. That's not too horrible. 42 is bad, man. Um, it's bad. But nonetheless, um, do I think an upset is possible here? Of course, I picked Chris Weidman, and I just gave you my reasons why I think Chris Weidman is going to win. And he's not 42 like Jim Miller, and it's middleweight, so age does not affect you that terribly. And we are also talking about a former middleweight champion, so he's not just another journeyman. He's been at the top. He's had the taste of the championship, and even though it's delusional talk, in his previous fights, he was busy saying, I'm going to make a run for the title. Someone who's still that delusional, maybe he's training enough to say, maybe I can make a run for the title. He's never going to be champion again, but that delusion might be making him work a little bit harder. So yeah, I'm hoping that he's working harder. I'm hoping he still believes he can become a champion, because that means he's working extra hard. He's never going to be a champion again, but I want him to think he can. Yaguzago, I pick Anders simply because Ever since the leg incident, Whiteman has never been the same. He looked good against Bruno Silva, to be honest. And to be fair, even though Bruno Silva is basically trash and he was busy poking him in the eyes, Brett Tavares, it took him to a decision. And we're talking about Brett Tavares. Was it last year or a year before? Somewhere there. So like Brett Tavares is not that old, so he was closer to Brett Tavares was a little bit closer to his prime when he fought Chris Weidman, and he still couldn't finish him. And he was busy throwing leg kicks. And even if that's why I'm saying even if Anders somehow I don't know, man. Does Anders even throw leg kicks? I don't know. I don't see him having any success. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess we'll see. Um, but in all honesty, I'm going to say an upset is possible because Chris Weidman is older and obviously the injury. But I heard him saying it. And also another thing that I forgot. I think Chris Weidman is on something. Um, do not quote me. I have no source. I'm just basing it off of his performances. He doesn't look like he looked in his previous fights. In the fight with Brett Tavares, in the fight in a couple of fights before then. So in the fight against Bruno Silva, he looked very suspicious. But I can't confirm anything. But yeah, yeah, Mike Tyson might win, but he's very old. Anyway, an upset is definitely possible here. Obviously, my subscribers and I went with Chris Weidman. On to the next one, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. My subscribers went with Jonathan Martinez. I went with Marcus McGee. Martinez is the underdog at plus 100, and Marcus McGee is the favorite at minus 120. Do I think an upset is possible here? Nah, 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 nah. Martinez is not going to win this fight, unfortunately. I know a lot of people, even my subscribers, feel like he might win. But the only thing that concerns me about this fight is the fact that, okay, bro, give me 5 minutes. I come back. Apache. Okay, no problem, man. You'll find me here. There's still a couple of fights that I still have to go through. Um, so I don't know. I don't see a path to victory for Martinez. I think if the fight stays standing, Marcus McGee is going to pick him apart. If the fight goes to the ground, Marcus McGee is probably going to win those exchanges. The only thing that Martinez is going to do is try to leg kick. And recently, a lot of fighters have found ways to actually deal with the leg kicks. You can counter. Obviously, I think checking leg kicks is a little bit more difficult than countering. So when someone throws a leg kick, you can just jab them. Every time they land a leg kick, you punch them in the face, and eventually they'll slow down. I think that's what Aldo did. I can't remember if he that's actually what he did, but Jonathan Martinez was not throwing that many leg kicks against Jose Aldo because Jose Aldo dealt with it, you know. So and he looked like trash in that fight. I know he was fighting Jose Aldo, but he didn't look that great. You know, he didn't look that great. Um, it seems a lot of people have faith in him. Maybe you know, I didn't have a lot of faith in Brandon Royval. Is it him? Yeah. But I heard he left. Him and Jonathan Martinez. I heard they left Factory X. And I've always been a massive critique of Factory X. I don't feel like they are helping their fighters reach their peak. A simple example is Anthony Smith. You know, um, I feel like they just make their fighters delusional. That's just what I think. They've been on a very a lot of their fighters have been losing in the UFC, to be honest. And for some reason, Brendan Royval performs better. And I found out the guy is no longer with Factory X. Jonathan Martinez, I don't know if he's performing better, but he's no longer with Factory X as well. So I don't feel like they're doing a great job. But still, even if Jonathan Martinez is no longer training at Factory X, I still don't feel like he's going to have any sort of advantage. I can't see where Martinez is going to win. The only thing that I see him winning with is leg kicks. And if Marcus McGee loses to leg kicks, then I guess he deserves to lose. It would be a stupid thing because you know what he's going to do. And it's the top five. I know people can say, yeah, but his previous opponents knew that he was going to throw leg kicks. I don't think so. Even if they did, they were unranked. Like the level of opposition is different once you get closer to the top 10. So if you're losing to leg kicks and you have title aspirations and you've been on a win streak and you're going to lose that because of leg kicks, then you deserve to lose. But I don't think that's going to happen. Um, Marcus McGee has the power. He's going to be the better striker. He's going to be the better grappler. I honestly don't see where people think Jonathan Martinez is going to win this fight. I think maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section. Polo, how you doing, my man? I'm good, man. Shirina Singh, you support to who? Support. I don't understand what you mean, my dude. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be an upset here. Even though the odds are very close, I don't see it. I don't think it's supposed to be this close. I think Marcus McGee is definitely going to win this fight. I could be wrong, but I doubt. Um, Alexander Cook, I love you, brother. I appreciate that. Um, On to the next one. So for me personally, I don't think an upset is possible here. I think Marcus McGee is going to win. Even if he can't finish the fight, he's going to win a decision. Um, you love Khabib? Yeah, I love Khabib. Polo, confident picks. I'll give you my confident picks once I'm done with the upset predictions. So yeah, Marcus McGee versus Jonathan Martinez. I don't think an upset is possible. On to the next one, Mauricio Rufy versus James on top. My subscribers and I went with Mauricio Rufy. Mauricio Rufy is the favorite at minus 750. James Top is the underdog at plus 525. Do I think an upset is possible here? Yeah. I know that's not the popular opinion. Um, Maybe it's because I haven't seen enough from Mauricio Rufy. I'm not the kind of person who gets sold too much on other people's hypes. Bro, any picks on Paul versus Tyson? I apologize. I'll try to do predictions for boxing properly starting next year. I stopped for this year. I'm overwhelmed with MMA stuff. So I'll do boxing predictions properly starting next year. I apologize, and I was doing so well as far as prediction goes. So unfortunately, I didn't do enough research to give you an informed opinion on that particular fight. But Tyson is old, man. If Jake Paul can get past the first round, I think he's going to win. Anyway, so Mauricio Rufy. I know a lot of people feel like James on top is trash and he's going to get knocked out and everything like that, which might very well happen. Mauricio Rufy has a really good team behind him. The Fighting Nerds have been doing significantly well. But for me personally, I even though I feel like Mauricio Rufy should definitely win this fight, I'm a little bit worried because I don't think James on top is as trash as a lot of people say he is, right? But I'm still waiting for Mauricio Rufy to prove me wrong. But obviously I'm picking what do you call him? Mauricio Rufy to win this one. I even said this fight is safe. On my safe and risky predictions on the channel. However, I'm a little bit worried. So do I think an upset is possible here? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think an upset is possible. I'm not gonna say I don't think so. I'm going to leave it at I think an upset is possible. Um, yeah, I think an upset is possible here. I'm still picking Mauricio Rufy. I think Mauricio Rufy is probably going to win this fight. He has a good team behind him. He has reach. You know, he is decently good defensively. You know, he doesn't get hit a lot, obviously because of the height and everything like that. So he should probably win. But I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes to a decision and it's close. I wouldn't be shocked, right? Obviously, also because James Lantop is also very durable. But I think an upset is possible here. But I'm still going with Mauricio Rufy. I think he has the better team behind him. Which is your best fight? I'll give you my best fight once I'm done here. I'm almost done. So I think Mauricio Rufy is better with a better team. But I feel like James Lantop is a little bit more durable. Um, he can he's still dangerous even in later rounds. So I can see a situation where did you speak about the Chandler fight? No, I haven't spoken about it. I'm still on Mauricio Rufy versus James Lantop. So I can see a situation where um, Mauricio Rufy and James Lantop, or rather Mauricio Rufy tries to get the finish early, but the fighting nerds guys have really good cardio. Not really good cardio. I haven't seen them in later round except Caio Borralho. Let me actually not say that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But I can see a scenario where Mauricio Rufy tries to get the finish in the first round, and he can't get James Lantop out of that in the first round, and then it goes to the second round. He starts to slow down, and James Lantop starts having a little bit of success, and then he still loses the second round, and then the third round is a little bit more dangerous. So James Lantop is starting to have a little bit more success. He's landing a little bit more, and then either he loses a close decision or he finds a way to finish the fight in the fourth round, in the third round. But yeah, I'm not picking James Lantop. I think Mauricio Rufy is better, but I think an upset is possible here. Um, On to the next one, Viviane Araujo versus Carini Silva. My subscribers and I went with Carini Silva. Um, Araujo is the underdog at plus 225. Silva is the favorite at minus 295. Do I think an upset is possible here? Whew. I don't know. I want to say yes, but Araujo is old, man. My country's name is South Africa. I'm from South Africa. I want to say I want to say an upset is possible, but man, it's hard to actually even say. At 39, it's even worse in the women's division to say an upset is possible. But Araujo is a very durable fighter. I think he's also, I wouldn't say the better fighter here, but still, I feel like Carini Silva should actually definitely win this fight. Yeah, but on the feet, I'd give the advantage to Viviane Araujo, and on the ground, I'd give the advantage to Carini Silva. Um, it just comes down to how it plays out. But Carini Silva, I don't think she's overhyped. So I think she's going to be well prepared, and I think she's going to find a way to take the fight to the ground. But Araujo is a very durable female fighter. She's a very durable veteran. So she might be able to find an upset, but I'm not going to bank on that. I still feel like Karini Silva is going to win, but I'll say an upset is possible. Um, Siraj is saying, for one match, how much you charge? I don't understand what you mean. How much I charge? What? On to the next one. So I think an upset is possible here. Viviane Araújo is actually very good, just that she's a little bit older, and I just feel like Karini Silva is going to find a way to take her down. So, but yeah, I'll say an upset is possible. On to the next one. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. My subscribers and I obviously went with Bo Nickel. Do I think an upset is possible here? No, no, an upset is not possible. Yeah, Paul Craig is not going to beat Bo Nickel. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people want that to happen. I don't think Paul Craig is the guy to do it. I made the point that Brandon Allen was performing better on the ground against Paul Craig, and between Bo Nickel and Brandon Allen, I think Bo Nickel is the better grappler or wrestler. I favor wrestlers over jiu-jitsu practitioners. And that's why I love Sambo, because Sambo is a mixture of jiu-jitsu and wrestling, right? So I think but Paul Craig is good at jiu-jitsu. He's not very good at wrestling. And wrestlers are very good at avoiding getting submitted. So I think even if the fight goes to the ground, I can't see a situation where Paul Craig gets Bo Nickel in a bad situation where he ends up submitting him. Especially because Paul Craig fades and he's a little bit older now. He's fighting a young and upcoming prospect who has a wrestling base, and a lot of the time wrestlers have good cardio. But I don't think the fight is going to go to the ground. I think Bo Nickel knows that he's better on the feet. Um, um, Sing, you love striker or grappler? I think I prefer both. I'm not. I'm not a fan of, like, for example, my favorite fighter is Hamza Chimaev. So that tells you. But it doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching Alex Pereira fight. So I'm a fan of both striking and grappling. I don't have a favorite, to be honest. And I know India. So back to Bo Nickel. I think Bo Nickel is going to strike. I don't think he's going to take the fight to the ground, despite the fact that I think he talks too much and he always speaks about Hamza Chimaev. But since Hamza Chimaev beat Robert Whittaker, he slowed down a little bit. He's not talking too much about him. He's a little bit more respectful than he was before. Before he was like, I can beat Hamza right now, and right now he's like, I still have a bit of work to do before I catch up. So he's a little bit more humble now. But back to my point, I think Bo Nickel is the better striker on the feet. Um, they both have the same reach, so no one is going to have the advantage as far as reach goes. So yeah, Bonico is going to have the power. Bonico is going to be better defensively. So we could see a situation where Bonico just strikes this whole fight and it doesn't go to the ground. But even if it goes to the ground, when a fight goes to the ground, I'm going to always lean towards the wrestler, not the jiu-jitsu practitioner, because jiu-jitsu practitioners are fine being on their backs, and in MMA that's not gonna work because you get punched in the face. Like they don't have to submit you. I actually could see a situation where Bo Nickel gets a ground and pound win in this particular fight because, but maybe not. You know what? I heard Paul Craig saying Bo Nickel shouldn't take him down, and he said it in a way like Like he was trying to scare him off of taking him down. He was like, he knows if we go to the ground, he will lose. So I advise him to not take me to the ground. Like, why would you say that if you know you have an advantage on the ground? It doesn't it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I feel like maybe Paul Craig feels like he's going to lose on the ground. I also saw Paul Craig doing a lot of work on his um, I saw Paul Craig doing a lot of work on his striking. You know what? A lot of people are asking me about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Unfortunately, tomorrow I'm going somewhere. I was going to do a bit of research and go live and break down the fight for you. I'll see what I can do, but at this point, I didn't do any research on that fight, and there are bigger fights that have passed, and I didn't do anything on them. Damn, I'm missing an opportunity. But I'll see what I can do if I can, because everyone is talking about it. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think Paul Craig is going to win. I don't think he has a lot of confidence on the ground as well. It seemed like he was asking Bo Nickel to not take him down because it seems like Paul Craig wants to try and win on the feet this time, for the first time in his career, I think. But yeah, I think even if it goes to the ground, I'm always going to favor the wrestler over the jiu-jitsu practitioner. Um, on the feet, I think Bonigo is going to be better, so I don't think an upset is possible here. On to the next one. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. My subscribers and I went with Charles Oliveira. Oliveira's the favorite at minus 250. Chandler is the underdog at plus 200. Do I think an upset is possible here? Nah, I don't know, man. I don't think so. I mean, Chandler is aggressive in the first round, and that's why he lost the second round. You know, um, saying you want to fight with which fighter? Saying I'm not a fighter, my dude. I almost said analyst. I'm an analyst, but I don't know. I feel odd calling myself that. But yeah, I'd say I'm an analyst, because I analyze fights and I predict. So I'd classify myself an MMA analyst. Um, so yeah, I'm an analyst, not a fighter. Um, who is your inspiration? I don't think I have inspiration, especially as far as content creation or anything like that. So I don't think I have any inspiration. I just love the sport. My inspiration is my passion for the sport. That's it. Full bag. Peace and hair grease slug. Gotta start these the generators back up. Catch the rest on the playback. What do you mean, dude? DZ. Yes. Anyway, so Chandler versus Oliveira. I spoke so much about this fight in my final predictions, but let me try to recap. Since Michael Chandler, let's actually look at the fight first before we move on from since the fight. Chandler was doing decently well in the first round, but that's the round that Chandler normally does well in. Um, DZ, I don't know why something is telling me Chandler is going to win. He might. I mean, the first round is Chandler's round, but after that he loses. However, I think Chandler might fight smart in this fight. Uh, this guy is trying to make me a fighter. Singh is saying you have the power to beat a Islam Makhachev. I don't think so, my dude. I'm not that delusional. I believe in myself, but I don't think I can beat Islam Makhachev. Um, anyway, the first fight, Chandler was doing decently well. It was a back and forth. And towards the end of the round, Chandler dropped him and he was about to finish the fight, and then it ended. Charles Oliveira came back in the second round and finished him. So if you think Chandler is going to win this fight, you have to believe that it's going to happen in the first round. Um, Yaguzagu, Sirahad Singh is enjoying his time. I can see. um, Singh, you are a lightweight division. I'm not a fighter, my dude. So I can see a scenario where Chandler be I don't know. I feel like Chandler is going to fight more responsibly this time because if you listen to what he's been saying things like Chandler 2.0 is out for championships or something like that. So it sounds like he's going to fight to in the way that people have been advising him to fight, to not be reckless. And if you're not reckless, you're not going to find a shot at beating Charles Oliveira. Only Islam Makhachev, who is a really good striker, can actually technically knock out someone like Charles Oliveira, or strikers like Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Those people are really technical strikers. I feel like Chandler needs to be aggressive, which I don't think is going to happen. I think he's going to fight more measured. He's going to use his brain this time, and I don't think it's going to go well. But even if he fights the way he normally does, it's going to work only in the first round. If he doesn't finish the fight in the first round, I don't see him winning the fight. And here's why I went with Charles Oliveira, right? Since their first fight, keep in mind that Charles Oliveira knocked him out. Like it's not like let's not act like Charles Oliveira won a close decision. He knocked him out. Like he beat him. He finished him in the second round. So let's get that straight. People are saying Charles Oliveira Chandler has a shot largely because it was close, right? But we once again let's remember that Charles Oliveira knocked him out. So it wasn't a close decision. Charles finished him. Charles went on to fight the number one pound for pound fighter, Islam Makhachev, actually, and prepared for him twice. Right, I think that improved his fighting abilities all round, and that's I think him performing how he did against Aman Zaruki, and there are people who actually felt like he won. I just think it was close, but I feel like he was attempting more submissions. I don't know, man. I'm not upset that Aman Sarukian won, but the fact that there's even that discussion, it shows that Charles Oliveira is still a top level contender, right? Chandler went on to lose to Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, the two people that Charles Oliveira finished. So I don't know, man. I know it's MMA math, but those are the only two people we can look at that fought Chandler and what do you call him? Poirier and Gaethje both fought Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Chandler lost to them. Oliveira beat them and didn't just win a decision. He submitted them. In fact, Dustin Poirier submitted Michael Chandler. And who does Dustin? When was the last time Dustin Poirier submitted anyone before he submitted Michael Chandler? So I don't know. I don't feel like Michael Chandler has a shot here, but he has a really good first round. And on top of that, Michael Chandler is like 37, 38. I don't know. He's no longer in his prime, right? And Charles Oliveira is like 35 years old. He's at the beginning of the decline, so he's not he has not started declining yet. He's at the beginning of it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like there's very little opportunity for Charles, but for Michael Chandler to win, unless he lands a fluke shot, maybe he wins the fight. But I don't see Chandler winning here. Um, Especially because Charles Oliveira is good. Even though he gets clipped, he's pretty decent defensively. And since since he fought Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira was able to go to the second round with Islam Makhachev. And that's what I've been saying, that fighting Islam Makhachev has made him improve in terms of striking. He knocked out Banil Dariush. I actually thought Banil Dariush would actually win, right? Charles Oliveira came in and knocked out Banil Dariush. So for me personally, I feel like the fact that Charles Oliveira in the first fight was able to go to the second round, was it the second round or third round where Islam Makhachev knocked him down and then submitted him. The mere fact that he was able to survive against Islam Makhachev, the same Islam Makhachev who knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in the first round, it was short notice, but I don't feel like short notice has anything to do with it because Alexander Volkanovski lost because of skill, not cardio. If Alexander Volkanovski was knocked out in the fourth round, I'd say, well, he didn't have a full camp, so he was tired. That would have been a solid argument. He lost within the first round. That was a skill problem. It wasn't a cardio or a preparation issue. What do you call him? Alexander Volkanovski is primarily a striker. If Islam Makhachev had taken down Alexander Volkanovski and submitted him, I would have been like, okay, Volkanovski was not prepared for the wrestling. He didn't have enough camp, like to prepare for the wrestling. He lost to a headshot. That's striking. Alexander Volkanovski should have seen that coming. So Islam Makhachev is a really talented striker. The fact that Oliveira lost it to the second round shows that he improved since the last time he fought Chandler. Maybe people don't agree with me, but for me personally, I don't see a path to victory except a fluke shot, like he did against Tony Ferguson, a fight which I felt like Michael Chandler was losing until he landed that kick. So yeah, the two people that Michael Chandler lost to in the UFC, Charles Oliveira finished them. You can say I'm doing MMA math, but I don't know, man. I feel like Michael Chandler is good in the first round. After that, you don't have to be worried. So, do I think an upset is possible here? I want to say no, but like I said, Chandler is good in the first round, and a lot of people clip Oliveira in the first round. You know, is an upset possible here? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. In my head, I'm like, I've analyzed this fight. Michael Chandler is not gonna win this fight. But the first round of Michael Chandler worries me. But I think Charles Oliveira has improved. But at the same time, I forgot to mention this. I feel like Charles Oliveira is enjoying the money too much. I feel like what got him to the belt is no longer there. I think he's enjoying being a star. Um, and that worries me a little bit. But I mean, now he has a really decent striking partner in Ian Gary. Um, Ian Gary is a decent striker. I mean, the striking, he's undefeated, and it got him to into the top 10 of the welterweight division. So, Ian Gary is now training with Charles Oliveira, and that can only improve Charles Oliveira's striking abilities. So I don't know, man. I think I'm going to say an upset is not possible here. I will say that saying I'm also worried about the first round of Michael Chandler, but I just feel like Oliveira has been preparing for better fighters, and the people that Oliveira beat, Chandler lost to them. Like the only two people who have beaten Michael Chandler in the UFC, Oliveira has finished them. So I don't know, man. I don't think Chandler is going to win here. So I'm going to say an upset is not possible. I don't see Chandler winning here. On to the next one, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. My subscribers and I went with John Jones. John Jones is the favorite at minus 650. Stipe is the underdog at plus 440. Do I think an upset is possible here? Nah, but I don't think the fight is going to be as easy as people think it is. Because a lot of people are making it seem like this fight is going to be a quick and easy fight for what do you call him, John Jones. I thought that until I did my final breakdowns. I'm going to respond to everyone in the comment section. Let me just finish, and then I'll respond to everyone. I'll give you my most confident picks, and then I'll respond to everyone and then bounce. So I made the example of Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira became a champion late in his career, and that was at light heavyweight, right? And it's not like he was fighting a bum. Jan Blachowicz is the only person who's ever taken what do you call him, Alex Pereira to a decision, right? Apart from Bruno Silva, and Bruno Silva does not count. I don't think he counts because Alex Pereira was still developing. He's still developing even now, but let's say after becoming ranked, the only person who's been able to take Alex Pereira to a decision is Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz also took um, Israel Adesanya's undefeated streak, right? So Jan Blachowicz is a really decent fighter. He he also beat he also ended the streak of Alexander Rekage. Like he's been fighting really decent. He's been fighting really decent fighters, and he's been ending their streak. So beating Jan Blachowicz is really impressive. So if Glover Teixeira can do that, I feel like Stipe Miocic can actually do that. He's in shape. I think he has power and volume, and it's heavyweight, right? So even though people feel like this fight is going to end in the first round, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it ended in the fourth. I wouldn't be shocked if I don't think Stipe is going to win. So just to tell you, an upset. I don't think an upset is possible here, but I could see moments whereby Stipe lands a big shot that makes John Jones a little bit wary, and John Jones starts to fight smart and is not aggressive, and he waits for Stipe to slow down and maybe takes him down. I don't think it's going to end in the first round. I don't think it's going to end in the second round. I think the fight will probably end between the third, fourth, or fifth round. But I'd say between the third and fourth round. That's where I think the fight will end. I don't think it's going to end in the first round or second round. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than people think it is. But I think John Jones is definitely going to win this fight without a doubt. So yeah, I don't think an upset is possible here. So let me give you my most confident picks. Obviously, number one is John Jones. Um, okay, I'll respond to everyone. Number one is John Jones. Number two is Bo Nickal. Is Bo Nickal number two? Okay, number one is John Jones. Number two is David Onama. Number three is Bo Nickal. Number four. Uh, Number four is Marcus McGee. Number five. Let me see. Number five. Who should I go for as number five? I want to say Karini Silva, but a lot of messed up things can happen here. So I'm not going to say Karini Silva. I also want to say Mauricio Rufi, but I'm not very confident. So I'm going to leave that out. So let me settle on this. John Jones, David Onama, Bo Nickel, Um, who else did I say? Marcus McGee. Wow, three. I don't think so. Yeah, am I confident? Like I don't. I want to say Oliveira, but like I said, I'm worried about. Even though I said like, an upset is not possible, I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not worried about the first round of um of Michael Chandler. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But the people who are definitely going to win, I'd say, is John Jones, David Onama, Bo Nickel, and Marcus McGee. Yeah, it's four. Those are my most confident picks. Um, if you're feeling extra confident, you can add Charles Oliveira and Karini Silva as well as Mauricio Rufy. That puts you at seven fights. Yeah, so those are people who I feel like are going to win. So let me repeat them, but like and explain them while I repeat them. So John Jones is number one for me, the safest one. Number two, I'd say, is David Onama. Number three is Bo Nickel. Number four is Mauricio Rufy. And then if you're feeling extra confident, you can add Charles Oliveira. You can add maybe Karini Silva and Mauricio Rufy. Those are seven. But the most confident ones for me are John Jones, David Onama, Bo Nickel, and Marcus McGee. So let me reply to you guys so that I can bounce. Let me see. Where did I end? I feel like if he didn't get that nice punch on him and stumble him, then Chandler would have still had a good chance. I don't know, man. Also, we're talking about Oliveira before the championship, right? We're talking about Oliveira before training for Islam Makhachev. We're talking about two different people, in my opinion. I feel like Charles Oliveira today would beat the Charles Oliveira that fought Michael Chandler. I think Charles Oliveira improved. I don't feel like Chandler has improved that much. Um, and he's been inactive for 2 years now, so that's not gonna help him. On top of that, he's older, and normally inactive fighters who are over 35 never really come back to successful um, fights. Coming back, never return successfully once they cross 35. Name one right now in the comment section. Give me a fighter who was inactive for 2 years or more, who was over 35, came back and got a win. Give me one. You're going to struggle to give me, especially recently, right? Even in the women's division, who's that lady who came back? Duranda Min. Yeah, she came back and she lost. She looked good, but she still lost. Who else came back and tried? Henry Cejudo came back. He's over 35. He lost. Who else? Once you cross 35, there are very few people who can come back after a long layoff successfully. I don't think Michael Chandler is going to be better than Henry Cejudo, an Olympic champion and a two-division champion. He couldn't come back successfully against Aljamain Sterling. So if Henry Cejudo, the wrestler, the Olympic champion wrestler, could not come back successfully, the two-division champion wrestler could not come back successfully after 35. I don't think Chandler, after a 2 year layoff, is going to come back successfully. I don't. That's just me. If you know anyone who's over 37, or who's over, yeah, or who's over 37, who had a 2 year layoff, who has ever come back successfully, if you know them, please point them out, especially recently. Um, DZ, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel like this isn't a fight to put in a parlay. I think it's just how he was meant to fight the corner and was ready for it, and now got this fight. So he's gotta prove himself. I don't know, man. But Chandler's never been that good, man. Like I know people are talking about Chandler like Chandler is this destroyer. He beat a Dan Hooker who was on a losing streak and Tony Ferguson. He was submitted by Dustin Poirier. Like, when was the last time Dustin Poirier submitted anyone? Like, it just shows how horrible he was on the ground. For him to be submitted by Dustin Poirier, the last time Dustin Poirier submitted anyone, I probably was not even watching MMA. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, how do you get submitted by Dustin Poirier? How? Like, I think the last time Dustin Poirier got a submission win, I wasn't watching MMA. Now I have 13,000 subscribers and over 3 million views on my channel. Like, it's crazy. For me personally, I honestly don't think Chandler is as good as people think he is. Maybe he improved, but still, 2 years layoff. He's over 30. He's now 37, going on 38. Like, it's not good for him. There's nothing here that says Chandler has an advantage. I can't see it, man. Maybe you guys can see it. I can't see it. Yaguzagu Chandler has all the attributes, but it's just that he brawls and doesn't fight responsibly. If he trains with the likes of Khabib, I feel Chandler is unstoppable. Yeah, but he's old now, so all that ability. The only way I see Chandler winning is if he somehow takes down Charles Oliveira and controls him for 3 rounds. Or maybe ground and pounds him. Yeah, maybe. That's the only way I see Chandler winning. I don't think he's going to win on the feet. And it would be a little bit unexpected. But I don't think he's going to have a lot of success. Maybe in the first round. But beyond that, I don't think he's going to have any more success. So I'm just worried about the first round. Yaguzago, true. I have the same feeling about Charles. Okay. DZ. Dipping, dipping fights aren't always good. I'm telling you, even how you put risky or safe on your channel, you might think, okay, I'm not going to go for it as it is 80 to 100% risky, but then they win first round easy. Yeah, it happened. Last week I got 100%, and if you watch all my streams, I did say that uh, all of the fights were risky, in my opinion. I said all those fights were risky, and a lot of those people finished their fights in the first round. So, DZ, that's actually a really good point. Um, that's actually a really good point. Father Mosgoose, Jones is gonna be slapped. I don't think so, dude. I can. Hello. Hi, how are you, man? I'm worried about taking a shit, being sitting on the toilet for 2 hours. The things we see on live stream. DZ, it's mad. It's mad trying to predict fights like you wanna say this, but then you're thinking this. Okay, DZ, for real, big congrats to you for what you do. I appreciate that, my dude. I really appreciate that. I had the Dagestani mentality. It's ruining the spirit, the sport. How is it ruining the sport, though? That sounds like MMA Guru's words. Isaac, Oyele, Valentina, Bilal. I don't understand what that means. R. Nah, trust me, Henry is a noob head, but his miles better than him. Yeah, that's what I think, dude. I feel like if Henry Cejudo, a former two-division champion and Olympic wrestler, could not come back after 36 successfully, then Chandler, I don't think Chandler is going to be the guy to do it. So yeah, I've responded to everyone. I've given you my most confident picks. I love and appreciate all of you. I'm about to bounce. DZ, because of the risk shit, I cashed out on 340, but I was meant to get 7.6k. But the thing is, most of the time when I say a fight is risky, it's risky. That's the thing, though. When most of the time when I say a fight is risky, it ends up being risky. The fight either goes to a split decision or it's a close back and forth fight. Maybe in the first round this one has success, in the second round this one takes over. Normally, when I say a fight is risky, it is risky. So obviously there will be times whereby I say something is risky and it turns out it was not. But ultimately, like I said, last week I got 100%, right? But I did say all those fights are risky. That's how I viewed it. Most of the time I'm right about that. My picks were correct, but I felt like they would be a little bit closer than they were. Still was right about my picks. I'm just saying most of the time when I say a fight is risky, it ends up in a close decision, right? So yeah, uh, Dizzy, have a good one, brother. I appreciate that. I love and appreciate all of you. See you in the comment section. Until next time, I'll see you Monday when I do my prediction results. Hopefully, I get 100% again. I think it's highly possible. The people I think I might get wrong are Eduardo Moura, maybe Oban Elliott, maybe Mickey Gall. Oh my God, there's so many fights. Oh my God, the fights that I'm worried about. Okay, let me tell you. I don't know, man. I just feel like I might get 100% also this week, but we'll see. We'll see. There are a couple of risky fights, especially the Jim Miller fight and the Chris Weidman fight. Those are the most worrying for me personally. Out of every single fight on this card, I'm most worried about the Chris Weidman and Jim Miller fight. So hopefully I get 100% again this week. I feel like I can, but every week I somehow manage to miss by one or two, sometimes three. So hopefully it doesn't happen this week. I get 100% 2 weeks in a row. That's possible. I always miss by one, sometimes two or three, so I still can get 100%. Um, Guitar music, Elliot or Hafez. I went with Elliot. DZ, of course. Um, I have to bounce, guys. I love and appreciate all of you. See you in the comment section, or see you Monday when I do my prediction results. Until then, deuces.